again, I'm so grateful I could do that, because how many people can like in the middle of the week just spend a day off every week?
Yeah, I can't emphasize enough
Not,
how
yeah.
important it is to just take, like, even if you can't handle an entire day, just at least, like, if you are like a early morning person, reserve the first few hours of your day for yourself. Like,
Mm.
the following conversation is with Iga Oliwiak. Iga is a concept artist, an illustrator, a painter, a traveler, a wanderer. Starting her painting career with the exceptionally hand-painted feature film Loving Vincent, which released back in 2017, she has worked on many incredible projects in the field of concept design and illustration, with one of her most famous credits being the lead artist on the Afro-fantasy MMORPG known as the Wagadu Chronicles. Iga is truly an exceptional artist for many of us, but on a personal level, she is foremost an incredible friend. This interaction that you're about to listen to is very different from other art conversations that I've had on this channel before, as the focus will be on many things other than just an artistic and a creative process. As friends normally do, we felt very comfortable going into tangential conversations, discussing her travel stories, our personal experiences at art events such as Trojan Horse was a Unicorn and Lightbox Expo, a fascinating tale about her experience with the Masai Mara tribe and her internal journey with mental health. Apologies in advance, but you will hear me talk a lot more in this episode, as I feel very comfortable discussing life with the people I care about. And Iga is one of those special people with whom I can have a genuinely interesting exchange. As always, I am your host Ayan DC, and you're listening to Art Chats. Let's begin.
Yes, I do.
Perfect. How have you been, firstly?
I'm fine, surprisingly fine, to be
Fine.
honest. I was expecting this period of time, like the beginning of the year, to be like this worst time ever, like when I have to just sit and crunch because I'm finishing the project
Right.
now, and I was like expecting like I would just, I would just cry and like be bounded to my desk and like do nothing else
Oh,
except of,
wow.
that.
Okay.
But surprisingly, I'm like full of life and energy, and I'm
Wow.
just
Okay.
feeling very, very good, so
Well, I'm
I'm
so
like
glad
quite
that you are.
surprised. Yes.
That's pretty cool. Currently, what projects are you working on?
Yeah, what I've been working on, I'm at the moment only finishing the Wagadu Chronicles.
Right.
So it's this project I've been working on for like 4 almost
It's
years
been a while, yeah.
now. Yeah. So this is the only thing I'm working on at the
Uh-huh.
moment, because progressively I was just stepping away from every type of work I possibly could because of the burnout. I guess we will probably
Right.
be talking about that. But yeah, like I was just rejecting every work
Right.
opportunity, or like anything, like just letting go any type of tasks that I have to do. So this is pretty much the only thing that has left at the moment, and I'm finishing this month, so I'm like, oh my god, I
Oh,
cannot
wow.
wait. Yes, it's gonna be the first time in my life when I'm like taking the break, like
Oh, wow. Like,
completely
okay,
from
okay.
everything. Like, well, from everything. I mean, from work, but in the sense that I've already gone freelance once, but
Right.
it was, like I left the studio and the plan was actually to start freelancing,
Right.
pretty much immediately. Like, okay, maybe I took vacation break, but it was in the mind that, okay, I'm starting very soon, to freelance. So my mind had to be like prepared for,
Yeah,
okay,
it's not exactly a break because you have
yes,
things in your
yes,
head all the
that's
time
your
when
goal,
you're,
to
yeah.
actually start working. And my goal now is to take a break and not
Right.
be pressured to do anything at all, like no projects, like no, even with the personal painting, like, okay, I do have small expectation that I will actually dive into my personal stuff, but I just don't want to pressure anything, like I
Right.
just want to take as much time as I need to like completely recharge, to get inspired again, to get this like initial spark of even why I started creating, you know. So not doing it for anyone, just for myself. So this is like the main goal, and enjoy the life. Basically, I think that's my biggest goal, because to get this inspiration to create, I think you need to first like be calm in your mind, I would say, you know. So yeah, not to be stressed about anything around. Yeah, that's why I'm like super duper excited for what's gonna come.
I can tell you one thing, because the thing that you're about to start is what I've been doing for the last 3 months, and it's just the best time. The only thing that I will ask you to like avoid is every time you get this fear inside that, okay, I'm not working, just push that away. Because it's a very intrusive thought, and it really gets in the way quite a bit. That fear sets in a little bit.
Luckily, I've already got past through this stage. Like 2 years ago. Well, I mean, it took me a while, but I also had this realization of like, I just need to get off this pressure that you have to do stuff all the time, that you have to constantly working on your skill, that you have to work all the time, that you have to take new opportunities, because if they come now, they might not come, you know, again in the future. So just yeah, I already got off this thinking, luckily. And that's why like I'm super prepared not to. Well, I will not have any time to work anyway, because I'm gonna travel for 2 months. I'm not even taking my like tablets to paint. I mean,
so I guess the places that you're gonna travel to are already picked. Like, so where are you going?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, the main destinations are Morocco and Brazil.
Oh, fantastic! I know that.
But I'm gonna like also like get some stopovers to visit some friends, which is also exciting. So basically, I'm going like London, then Morocco, then one night in Madrid, and then Brazil. And then I don't know, because, and that's also the exciting part, because I'm not buying the ticket back. So yeah. So I will see where do I actually end up, because I might just, you know, travel in Brazil, but I don't know, maybe I will go further to Peru, for example, or some other countries in South America. I will see, but that's the thing. I just don't want to plan too much, because I just want to get like this spontaneous type of travel. Yeah, it's gonna be completely
stuck to your Instagram stories. I think there's been so many beautiful images. Like just today, I was kind of going through your trips to Kenya when you spent time with the Masai Mara. We'll get to all of those things as well. The reason why I actually wanted to again touch base with you before we do that, would you like to give a little bit of an intro about who you are? I'll give my version of how I know how I have known you, but you can go further.
To give a little bit more information, so I've been drawing my whole life, and this is something I wanted to merge with my work, because, you know, work and passion, perfect. But yeah, I've been working mostly in the game industry. Actually, I started in animation industry with loving Vincent movie, but then I quickly moved to game industry, and I was working with like mobile game studio, Wuga, and then freelancing, then joined Twin Drums. So basically, I've been painting my whole life, and both digital and traditional, illustrating stuff for games, for card games, I don't know, like the comic book covers, this type of stuff. So and now I'm just gonna focus on my own.
Perfect. So I would like to say, like, based on how far my memory goes, I remember 2018 we did hang out a little bit, but I think 2019 was when we actually got to know each other a little bit better. And I think around that time, I guess you were on the verge of walking away from Vuga and starting your freelance career, right?
Yeah, that was
so that's when I saw an outburst of just amazing artwork on your Instagram profile, and it was so crazy. Cut to this year, where I saw a very different Iga. I mean, I was so happy that we got a chance to even like stay at the same Airbnb and, really spend a lot more time like just interacting and talking to each other. And I saw a very different human being. I saw a very non-artist Iga, like someone who's trying to really, enjoy the smaller moments
Yes.
of life.
Yeah. Oh my God. I gotta tell you, like through this 3 years, because yeah, it's been like 3 years, right? So many things has changed. So many. Like exactly what you're saying. Like I was so focused on like career and
Right.
painting, everything connected to that, and traveling as well. Okay, like traveling was always there. Like I cannot say like I was only focusing on painting because there were also different stuff. This is why maybe I kept being okay for so long, I would say. But then this past 3 years, well, 2 years, because my 2-3 years, let's say, yeah, when everything has started to fall apart in my mind, then it was like a huge how to say that? Well, a change. I mean, yeah, I started to evaluate a lot of, things, and in general, like maybe a little bit philosophical, but what's the point, of like only working, and yeah, maybe it was a little bit too, from a person who is like so fixated on like everything connected to art, and like you gotta work on your skills, you gotta get better all the time, hustle, 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 hustle. Why you're not painting even? I got a little bit like upside down to become this more of a rebel side, like work is like slavery, like we should enjoy the life and do stuff, and none of those things is like good completely, because you have to balance it out. But I think now I'm on the way to try to balance that out, basically. So yeah, hence the break. I want to do.
So, what kind of when you say that you started feeling that struggle, so were those struggles because of internal reasons, like things that you might have been overthinking, or external factors, something getting in the way?
It's the combination of everything.
It's a
I would say
combination.
it's combination, because of course internal, and like this feeling of like a pressure, because it's all about the pressure, because I was pressuring myself, to do better. But of course pressure comes also from the external causes, that like our industry is actually oriented in a way that that I don't know, people comparing each other constantly, like when you see all this amazing art in social media, you think, oh, I'm not that good. And, I should be working hard because I see this person is like posting every day, or maybe they are not, but you think they are posting every day because you see this art like coming from everywhere, and you're like, oh my God, people are doing stuff. I have to do stuff as well, because I will fall behind some kind of, like path that everyone is following.
It's somewhat of a self-initiated burden at that point, because it's not that the other person is trying to one-up you. That person is just trying to do their own thing. But I think we get convinced with this whole idea that, okay, like we are all like very humble, but there's this certain level of competition, which actually is completely non-existent. We're all doing our own thing.
Yeah.
But it takes a toll, yeah.
I have to say that I was never feeling it as a way of competition. I didn't feel like I'm competing with other artists, but I felt this need of like constant improvement, also for myself, to like get the life like I want, to work on the stuff that I always dreamt of. So it was so one is this internal, and the external is like, you also see others are working, so you also want to do that, because like for me it was also very much motivational, like and more in a way like if they can do that, then I can do it as well, but I need to work on that, so yeah, just work will not done itself. But that was again a combination of many different things. I started freelancing, and it was the biggest factor, I think, because then your time actually merges, like your personal and work time merges. And I took a lot on my plate, like a lot of projects and a lot of very complex projects. I would say complex in a way, like there were those group illustrations, which takes you forever. It's like very, very long process to paint, and it's like a huge task that you gotta work on over and over and over, and it's hard to like see even an end, you know. So eventually I started to only paint stuff for work because I thought like if I'm already like sitting at my computer and painting, then I better do work. And I started to associate painting with some mundane tasks that I have to do, you know. So I stopped doing personal stuff. Then and it was shortly before pandemic, so it's like I started to actually get burned out of my work before pandemic started, but then pandemic didn't help at all, you know, because then you're locked in
The
your
isolation
house.
doesn't help.
Yeah, I couldn't go out and see other people, couldn't really travel. Well, I did travel anyway, a little bit, which for sure helped. But you know, like that was combination of many different tasks, and yeah, that's why I started to fall down a little bit this like depression path, which I'm getting out of, which is good.
That's really cool. But I completely get it, because I think, I mean, I don't know how the laws were during for the like how were the restrictions in Europe for the pandemic time? Like, was it too restrictive? Did you guys have very strict rules?
It was, yeah. By the time I was in Berlin, and like you couldn't go out anywhere.
Okay, so this is before you moved to Poland.
Yes. Right. Yeah. You just couldn't like even leave your house. You know, I think the only reason was like to walk a dog.
Okay.
And to go to shop, but basically you're just sitting there. And of course, like through the 2 years time, it was different, of course. But I remember this first timing, like when I was looking from my balcony, like that so many people are like passing the street, and I was like thinking, why? Like we are in the pandemic, it's like what are you doing? You know, like we should be all sitting at home. Like what the fuck? So yeah, I remember the time. But yeah, eventually it started to get a little bit better, that you could go to some, you know, places. Of course, feeling so much risk of dying.
That's true. I mean, because I've had like friends who moved to Germany a while back. Now, when you look at a street in India, you will see no less than like, I mean, the minimum number of people that you'll see on the street is 10, and then you'll see more and more. When they moved over there, I guess in Europe there aren't as many people as there are in India. So if like in a pandemic situation when the roads are completely empty, that hits really hard, right? So it was like, it's always like I can see how much it can have an impact for an artist as well. Like, I think some people thrive in an isolated front, like you can get a lot of ideas out. You get a chance to sit with your creative thoughts as well.
Definitely, but you need the balance.
You need the balance. You need to step away. You need to step away from your own mind. For a bit.
Yeah. At least be able to, you know, get out, you know, and just not sit in the same place. I think you need this stimulate of, you know, especially visual, like because we are visual artists, so you need different things to see. I'm not speaking for everyone. I think there are artists who, and I heard so many comments that I like. Some people didn't see any change because they were sitting at home
freelancer.
Anyway.
This is our like normal thing, right?
Yeah, that's a normal thing. But I think I am pretty social creature, and I need, you know, contact with people, and I think with freelancing already I started to get more isolated. So for me, maybe also wasn't that much different when the pandemic started, because I started to be a little bit more isolated when I started freelancing, because then again I was thinking like, yeah, I just need to work because I have deadlines and stuff, which is so unhealthy, and yeah, I would totally do it differently again. But it was also my first time trying to you know, being a freelancer. So of course you gotta do those mistakes to learn later and not repeat them, right?
So what convinced you to step away from the whole full-time job thing and move to freelancing? Was it the freedom of choice of the kind of projects you want to do, or
yeah. So at that point, and I mean at this point as well, I think you're just working on the same project for quite some time. At Wagadu it was around 3 years. Here around 3 years, so maybe there's some let's say that pattern.
right?
But yeah, you're just getting bored, really, like, you know, of working on the same thing all over again. And another thing, you just wanna grow as an artist. Like, I wanted to try different things and maybe more various tasks as well. So you're not only getting on in one project, but also working on different things, and especially working on something I can choose, you know, more myself, because at that time I announced that I'm freelancing, and I was taking commissions from many different private people as well. So if they go to you, they want you to work in your style. So it's not that you're gonna work on something completely unrelated to what you like or what you do, because they will ask you to paint basically what you already have in your portfolio, because that's why they chose you, you know, to work at the first place.
Also, I guess, and like, because even around that time, even I was working at Zynga, and with casual gaming companies, it's not even, it's more of you working concepts as updates for the same game, so it gets monotonous pretty quickly. And it gets
does,
to you.
it does. And I felt like I stopped already being so much challenged, you know, in the work I do. Of course, you always can improve in what you're doing, like in everything. But I really felt like I'm drawing the same type of characters over and over and over, and maybe it's good to just, you know, change the environment completely, because it was not only about changing the project, but also environment, you know. So I didn't want to like be in the same studio with the same people, even though I loved it. That's the thing. Like, I didn't leave because I didn't like it. I left because I wanted a change, you know. And I had to get this new type of experiences, you know, and challenges. I think it's crucial part of growing, you know, as an artist or even as a person, you know, just to get challenged and get any type of new stuff.
No, because I think even like companies like the ones that we work for, I think after a point a sense of complacency comes in, like where like the lifestyle is so comfortable, it's very difficult to step away from it because of the perks and everything that you get, like the benefits that you get from a very stable job like that. But it does get to you. It definitely is, at least
like this. I think I saw some, like, I was thinking at the time that I see people who are, you know, in the same place for 5 or I don't know, even more years, which is okay if they want to. I'm not gonna, you know, blame everyone, but it didn't work for me. Like, I just was afraid to get too comfortable sitting at the same place, and really was a fear of being stuck in the same place when you're too comfortable. So, you know, just needed to change, and I'm happy with pretty much all the decisions I took,
of course,
back then and on the way. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit naive positive thinking, but I really do think everything happens for a reason.
Of course, of course, I completely agree with you on that. I mean, coming back to the point why I said I met a very different version of you this time, because for like folks who don't know, I met Iga through THU, and just like her, we've met like tribe, so many people, so many amazing people. But like the reason why I felt a little detached this year from the event, mostly because I think it happened after the whole pandemic space, because I think now we started getting a little bit more isolated with ourselves, so it was a little bit more tricky to have very open conversations. At least I struggled with that. And I think at these events, like, you feel the need to put your artist front first. Like, that's how you begin the conversation, and then you get to know the people and they become a part of your life. So that became very anxiety inducing for me, because I realized it was really difficult.
You know, like, for me, this this THU, it was such a different experience from any other, I mean, after, this THU, the recent one after pandemics, I felt everyone is feeling a little bit different, like kind of tired a little bit of all the, work stuff, and actually trying to talk to people as they are people and not artists only, At least I felt this way, that, like, who are you as a person? Like, you don't have to show me your work first so I can actually value you as a person, and and think if I should speak to you or not, which I don't know, sometimes I felt it was really the case at some event, like, oh, let me show you, like, show me your work first, so I can see if you are worth to talk to. And it's like, oh my God, no, like, stop, let's stop it, like, I don't know, I was even trying to think, like, how can I talk to people in terms, in general, not only at the event, but start to not, the first question that you ask them, not what do you do in terms of work, but maybe rephrase it more for, like, what are you excited about in life, or like what drives you, because it might, but it may not, be connected to your daily job.
That's very true. Yeah,
and some people, they are like completely, it's like not proud, but they don't really care, or like what they do for work. I mean, like, they do have their daily job, but whatever that is, just to strive in life, get some money, and then they focus on some stuff they love. With us artists is a little bit different, because we kind of associate the passion with work, so it has to be connected somehow. Maybe that's why, at the art events, everyone is like, yeah, what do you do in terms of work? Because you just assume everyone is working already in the field, and maybe by the question, where do you work, like, what do you do for work, it kind of also answers you, what are you interested in terms of art, perhaps, like, in field, maybe it's like illustration or like animation. But yeah, it does, like, it's not always the case, like, you work in this field that you're actually excited about.
I completely agree with you, because I think this year when I went for THU, the most memorable times were when I had like very human conversation. It was nothing related to art. I don't even remember speaking much with a lot of the knights, because even with them, like, I for some reason I felt the need to ask them questions, but answers to questions which I already knew. So it almost became that kind of a thing for me a little bit. But I really enjoy just getting to know some people about how their lives are. Like, I got a chance to like really like delve into like very deep conversations with you, and Karthik was also there with us. That was a great moment. And then few others over there, like, we got to know about like how their lives are like outside of the art aspect of it, because I think the pandemic really proved to us human contact is something that we've taken for granted for a long time. And the moment you just stop it, dead stop it, you suddenly feel the lack of it. Right. So everyone, the moment I guess everyone saw each other, there was just like this genuine sense of just connecting with them on an emotional level, rather than using art as the first step.
Yeah, I completely agree. Got exactly the same. But regarding the nights, I think I even wasn't like, I sometimes I would prefer not to know that somebody is a knight or not. Like, it shouldn't really matter at first, because there are so amazing artists that teach you who aren't knights but could be, like, easily, but it's just a matter if someone is speaking at the time or not. But not it doesn't mean like you're like, if you're not, you're like worth more than not knight.
Of course.
So sometimes I felt like I don't even want to know, if this is even the famous artists I know, because it suddenly also changes your way of thinking, or like a way of conversation you might be having, because you're putting yourself in this situation, like,
you're putting yourself in a box of, okay, you have to ask these specific questions to this person, because that person only can answer these questions.
Not even specific questions, like maybe like you're putting this person as someone like superior and you are not, and there's this weird different connection than you being exactly at the same like level.
No, I agree.
Bit sick. But yeah, and then suddenly I'm like, what can I talk about with this person if I already know that they are denied? And I don't know, I don't like this feeling. I prefer like to talk with everyone like, hey, like what's up? Like
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, to be honest, that's the reason why I began doing this again, because now I think we've come to a point, because I think over the past few years, we've shared so much information about uh, art in general, like online, even over the last 2 years, the whole how to become an artist, or what are the things you need to do to acquire certain skills. This is a conversation that has been like going on for a while now, and I think most people get it now. They know, okay, there's a certain level of work that you have to put in to become whoever you want to be. Can't change that. There are no shortcuts to this thing. You just have to really work at it. Now what? Beyond this is when like the interesting conversations begin, because like the work that you do stems completely from your love, your attachment towards certain influences in your life, whether it be indigenous cultures, or your childhood, or the way you think about emotions. Those things seep into your work, and that's your voice at the end. And I am just more curious to know about those things rather than what's the tool that you're using, right?
Exactly. Yeah. This is, I think, the most interesting part. And as you say, like it comes from your experience and what you do, also apart from like what you're interested at. Where are you even like in words? Where are you from, and like what are your interests, and not, exactly, just the technical part of stuff. That's the most interesting part, and that comes to art, of course, as well.
Of course, of course.
Mm.
So, okay, for the because I know a lot of people in India, at least, they still want to attend THU. You've been to THU quite a few times.
3 times.
Three times. I think, okay, so I guess like we went, like 2018 was your first year as well, right?
Which one?
2018 one was your first one as
18,
well.
yeah, 18, 19, and then this year.
Right. So how did the experience change every year for you? Like what were certain expectations that you went with when you went for your first one to last year when we actually spent more time together? So did it change at all, or?
I mean, of course it did change, because we just
right. You know everyone now. Yeah, there's a lot more.
That was also a little bit different. Like first time I went, I didn't know too many people, but I also wasn't alone, because we went with some people from the studio, and like it wasn't also my first art event in general. So it for me it was something new that it was THU, like but it wasn't first time that I went to this type of conference, because I think I already visited IFCC before and some other. But I was still like very much excited, about everything very much, like all the talks and lectures as well on like exactly like meeting at least like listening to some idols that I at the time very much admired, and yeah, I think I would just focus on like meeting as many people, like exchange the get inspired, motivated, but also get the knowledge as well. Even though I think at the first time I wasn't looking at job opportunities at all, because I was working at Huga at that time.
Right.
But then the second time, when I went, I already started freelancing, I think. So my mind changed a little bit, like, so maybe meet people, but also in terms of looking for some job opportunities, but freelance opportunities. So that changed a little bit, because I started to speak with some art directors, like, if we could possibly work together. I've already knew some people from the first edition. So it was also like coming back to see the same crew of people, you know, and I was just excited to meet the people that I've already known, and of course meet some new ones.
I guess the reunion aspect of THU is what attracts most people who are coming back to it, because first year you do meet and you get to know them, and once you go back home you actually start missing these people, because everyone's just like in this mindset of a family coming together, right? Which is why I think THU stands out compared to a lot of other events where you also meet people, but like THU has this whole family oriented feeling attached to it.
Yeah, it's very focused on networking, but networking in a way, just having the activities even to bring people together. And while talks are important as well, I think the biggest focus is actually for people to spend time together and meet, which is, for example, very different from Lightbox, which I also attended this year. It was 2 weeks. Yeah, I think 2 weeks after THU. So it was very short time. So I had like a very fresh view of that I could even compare those events.
Okay, so then what differs Lightbox compared to THU? Like, how is the experience compared to THU over there?
So exactly, this focus on networking part and focus on actually the content part during the day. So I felt like on Lightbox you have so much more content in terms of talks, because there are like, I don't know, there are so many happenings at the same time, like so many of them. You cannot attend even like a 10% of what is happening there. It's packed. The program is packed. But there are also way more people in Lightbox. Everything is packed, you know. It's so it's even harder to organize it in terms of networking, because it's impossible to, I don't know.
Do you get a chance to connect with people on a deeper level over there? Is that even possible? Or I guess you stick to a group over there, right?
It's more like this. So there are no like there's no such thing like as Oasis and official after parties, really. You know, like there was some stuff on Lightbox, like there was a party thing at first day, but I don't know, I felt completely different vibe of of a party. I think many people just were focused more on like a day part of talks, and also the convention part, because that's also the biggest difference, that there's a convention part on Lightbox, which is not at THU, so that you have the market, basically the tables where artists exhibit, and it's also maybe for people who actually want to meet their idols or like just meet some artists that are exhibiting. It's way more accessible, because you can just come to an artist and talk to them, buy something from them. But again, this is also the different type of connection I was speaking about before, that you put yourself in a situation that you are a fan of this artist, and for both sides is way like more difficult to get to this like a friend connection.
There's a separation that you can feel over there.
Exactly. So that's why I do prefer more of those informal gatherings, when you just talk to people as you are.
Okay, I want to know more about your childhood, because I don't think I've ever had a chance to talk to you about like how your like early life was, like your like before you even started working as a professional. Like, what was life like for you? Like, did you come from an artistic family? Like, is that something from your background?
So no, not really artistic family, but there was some kind of artistic, like I would say like line in the lineage. Yeah, that's what you say. Because I could see like a little like type of creativity in my mom and also in my uncle, who was drawing, but they never pursued further anywhere. So my mom is a teacher. My dad has a driving school. So they're both teachers, and that's why I think actually my grandma also was a teacher. So there is like a teaching path as well in my family, which I feel a little bit compelled to. You know, for teaching. Yeah, I like teaching. It might be something actually connected, you know.
You do enjoy teaching, that means.
Yes. I do enjoy the feeling that someone knows something more because of me, you know, that I passed some kind of knowledge. So yes, I'm not coming from artistic family, really, but I did always like to draw, you know, like as a kid. It was my first hobby, and pretty much, well, not only, but it was visible, you know, like when I was a kid, like I was the one drawing, you know. That's whenever you're like visiting your kids, like a young friends, and like, oh, what we are gonna do, and like, yeah, maybe drawing, and they're like, no, come on, you know, like, why not, you know, like drawing is fun, let's draw. So yeah, I was the type of person who just wanted to draw for fun. And this is exactly what I've been pursuing basically my whole life. Not at the same level of intensity, I would say, because there were parts that I was having breaks from drawing completely. But I knew that I want to combine it in the way to also work, you know, with drawing, because this was my good part. Like they have the talent, but it's like they say that, you know, I got the talent for that, which is another thing we could basically discuss, if there is even such thing. But in general, I wanted to go with that. So I decided that maybe a good combination of drawing and some more science stuff would be architecture. And I think it's really common path for many artists that I know in the industry too, because you don't want to go full artist mode because of how it's
the engineering track for artists is to go through architecture over there.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, you feel like, oh my God, an artist, like a starving artist path? No, thanks. But so that was the way people were thinking, like, you know, if you want to go to art school, for example, oh my God, what you're gonna do afterwards, like you won't get a job and stuff. So I was also like falling into this trap of like, yeah, but so if I combine maths and physics, because I went to like a math class, you know, in my high school, then I thought like, yeah, okay, that's gonna be a good choice. But luckily I realized soon enough, so in my last class of high school, that I actually don't want to be an architect. I was already signed for like this extended, you know, matura exams from maths and physics, and like spent the years of like learning so hard for them. But then like last minute I said like, no, I'm actually want to go artist path, because at that time I was playing a lot of video games. Well, through my whole
basically. So did the technicality of architecture is something that really put you off of it, or what was it?
No, it was more inspiration for actually doing stuff like illustration and concept art that drove me more. And at the same time, I thought like, yeah, I don't want to design houses or something like that. You know, I thought that might be too boring. But in general, like as I said, I was playing a lot of video games, so I was very inspired by everything that is created in the game world, because I was the explorer part. So I would just go, for example, in a MMORPG, you know, when there is an open world, you can just go and explore, like taking tons of screenshots and like appreciate whatever is there, you know, all the landscape, but also all the armors and how characters look. So I was just, you know, like zooming in, observing what is happening there. I was taking screenshots. I was drawing from from those screenshots. I still have my gallery of.
Also, I just want to say you kind of physically embody a Horizon Zero Dawn aesthetic as well.
I just started playing Forbidden West. I'm not sure. Like 2 days ago, I was posting some stories. Not sure if you saw those. But yeah, in the Horizon, I was just looking at every type of plant that I could actually see. Oh, this is Croton, this is Monstera, this is something, and spent literally, I think, 3 hours on a 10-minute gameplay. Something that you would go through this first intro, of the game, that you're just going the path. I instead of going like this, I went like this.
Wow.
So taking screenshots of everything, and also really doing a photo shoot of my character in the a Monstera spot that I saw. But I see it I don't know, even as a term of references for paintings, some kind of interesting shots that you can get in game. Yeah, I just enjoyed this part so much. But coming back to the how it was in my childhood, so then I saw those things, and then I got this realization, somebody had to design those things, it's not that it just appeared there, this armor, with such an ornamental stuff in here, so I was like, wow, this is actually a job. So someone gotta do that. And then I was also in the car listening to some epic game movie music, soundtracks. And I felt like when I heard the music, I was starting to visualize how would I match images or some video from the game footage to the music, because I was also seeing type of these videos on YouTube when people were recording stuff from the game, and there was this epic music in the background. So I started visualizing that, and this was exactly the moment when I felt my God, I'm so excited by this, that this is something I have to do, in a way, working for games, or working with some more fantasy illustration concept art, and not houses.
Interesting.
Architecture, So yeah, this was exactly the moment I realized. And then from all the plans that I was having for a couple of years, Iga being an architect, everything was just okay, reset. I'm gonna just paint stuff for life.
Oh, okay.
And it was the best decision I could have ever.
I mean, totally, yeah. I mean, it shows through your work. I think you made a fantastic decision. But even on that front, resetting, that's quite a scary thing to do for anyone, I feel because you've already gone through a track,
Yes,
and then completely stepping away. But I think also, was it early on enough so that you did not worry about the outcome at that point?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. It was. Yeah, luckily, as I said, it was before I started to study. I mean, I think it's still never too late to do such thing if you really feel like it. So even though I don't know, even if I finished architecture study and I decided okay, this is actually not the path that I want to take, and so many people have that, and I think it's completely fine. And it's actually, I admire people who make this type of changes in their life, even at the later point, because it takes the courage to actually change something and do it the way you actually want to do it, because then you are actually taking your life, in your hands, and not just following something that, was already there. So why not continue? Yeah. And I see the pattern.
I also feel that as human beings, we really over-exaggerate the importance of time in our lives, because I mean, at every stage, I feel that there's always a clock ticking in our head, whether it comes to the choices that you have to make for tomorrow, right? There's we live in a very time-bound construct of a life, and that if we kind of relinquish control on that a little bit, suddenly you see opportunities come up, because there's this whole idea of, okay, we will die at some point, as well. So that is
Which
like,
is good
that's great. I mean, I think death is one of the most beautiful things. So many people even meditate on death. Like it's a very philosophical thing at the end of it. But also I think we are very overburdened by the presence of it, where like you feel like if you have to do something right now. If someone at the age of 24 achieved a lot of success and you're 28 or 29, you feel like you've lost out 4 years, and like it is nothing of that sort. Like you start now and you make that decision, do the things that you need to do, you will get that in 2 years, and then by 30 you will be able to do that. But big deal, who cares, you know?
Exactly.
So but I also have like something that you said about you taking screenshots when you're like playing the games, and it really tells me about the kind of traveler you are as well.
Yes, I do travel in games too.
Yeah, I mean, like it's interesting because I've also, a lot of my friends are travelers as well, and I've noticed traveling is a sense of escape for them, and not much more than that. They feel this anxiety of not going out and traveling, and some people like you loves to wander, find new things, like and like there's no negative step to it. You always go do something and find something, so that the whole, like, so do you ever feel that kind of a need to escape from your current life?
Sometimes, yes, but I mean, but I don't perceive travel as this. No. So okay, I did have this type of escape feeling exactly recently that I really decided to go to state to escape what's currently happening in my life. But in terms of like travel in general, no, it's more of terms of like curiosity and just feeling that there is so much out there in the world, and would be such a waste not to see it and experience it. It's like I just don't want to sit in one place if there's so much out there to discover. I don't know. For me, it's like a meaning of life to actually, get the most out of what's out there, in the world in general. And of course, it's connected to my interest in cultures, in like seeing different perspective from other people, but also seeing the landscapes, like I'm so much nature person, and I just want to see all of the like wonderful different views, that Earth has to offer, oh my God, it's like I want to see everything.
Right, and it's also not possible, it's like, I think it's all of it, right? Like when you travel, it's not just the landscapes, it's the people.
It's always combination, of course.
And it's also even like times when you face a challenge, like probably there's some issue going on that you can't figure out because you are in a different place, you don't know how to communicate with them. That is as much a positive experience as all the other fun times in the whole thing, because now you have a story to look back to, that tells you how different we are, but also how similar we are. You not having something in your past which led you to make a decision could also be the same for someone who had parents who allowed them to have those kind of decisions and still had that decision at the end. So at the end of the day, like, our baser needs are very similar, and you just get to see it from different point of views when you travel and you meet different people.
Yes, but this is also why I love all of those type of gatherings, like the conferences, because then everyone is actually traveling to one place, and you get all of those different views and perspective, from the different people, and they came from all the different parts of the world. That's why I also loved Berlin, because of its multicultural aspect, like every day you meet different people with completely different point of views. I mean, well, they of course might be similar, but they have different like experience, in their life that they can now like transfer to how they think.
Interesting. Which out of the places that you've traveled to, which is the one, like, if you could point out one place where you really found yourself like in a place where you were more challenged compared to the other places, like where you felt a genuine contrast with your lifestyle compared to Yes, and I'm keeping the Masai Mara separate to this because I want to have a separate conversation about how that was. But if you had to pick another place.
Another place. Well, it's really hard to pick one place because I felt like so many different places that I've traveled to, it is already so much different.
Right.
Like lifestyle and like, I don't know, Thailand, so much different. Philippines. So this was completely different, you know, perspective. Like, for example, the fact that people there are dealing with typhoons all the time, constantly. This is like their main problem. Like, this is something I would never think of, like such cataclysm while living in Poland, you know, like we don't have, I mean, okay, we do have floods, but it's like
it's nowhere like not devastating to that scale.
It's not. It's not that much. Yeah. So, and this is something like such a completely different lifestyle, because even like when you make your home, you know that it might be vanished, you know, soon.
Oh wow.
And this is like, wow. Yeah. So for me, that was striking, you know, very much, and like even get you to the point of thinking like, wow, you really gotta be grateful that you don't have to deal with this type of stuff, and that you're even able to travel, you know, to this place. But I don't know, for me, traveling is also a lot about like just appreciating that I even have the chance, you know, to do that, because so many people don't. Yeah. So.
Wow. No, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, so, and it's, you know, the interesting part is like, you will also meet these people in these places where when you put yourself in their shoes, you know that this is a part of your life, and some of them would speak of it as just a normal part of their life. Whereas you cannot even imagine yourself to be in that position. But that's the thing, like I think now the world gets more input about different things that's going wrong in different parts of the world. Like, we're all very much aware of how things completely went out of hand in Ukraine, and like just imagining what the daily life is over there, like what's a normal day in Ukraine right now, and no one in their worst nightmare would want something of that sort to happen. So yeah, I mean, it's quite a difficult thing that a lot of them go through.
Yes, you learn a lot.
You do. I mean, I think also as artists, that gives us that opportunity, you know, to speak with a bigger voice, you know, because you know these people, you get to hear their stories, you at least get to hear your interpretation of their stories as well, and that again seeps through your work. Because we've seen so many old artists who have lived in times of war, and you can see that frustration and exhaustion that they felt at that point, and that comes through their marks as well. That aggression comes through their marks. So it's very interesting how it gets translated, where art is just like
normal.
That. Right.
Yes. I think this is actually a beautiful part about art, that like what we already said before, that everything about your experience translate. I mean, sometimes maybe art also can be like an escape from what is happening. So I think while it might be very much connected and it might show in your work, sometimes it might be like completely disattached as well, as a way of maybe escaping, you know, from what is happening, you know, with your life, and what you actually wanna create to completely separate from what's happening. I think it's also the case.
No, definitely. I think art, I mean, that's the art serves so many different aspects to us. That's why also I feel at times that professional artists, not everyone, some people at times, like you will see a level of pretentiousness in them where they feel like art is their own, But we all know that we've had family members who, like, when they're frustrated, they just want to do something on the side. They'll be doodling and this and that. So it's so much bigger than just the jobs that we do. Just just the tasks they've been assigned. And it's not just even like paintings. Like even you have dancers, you have sculptors, you have so many different avenues where you can. It's basically speaking your own truest voice and just communicating a thought, an idea, a mindset, right?
Yeah, through different forms. Yeah, poetry, music, dancing, performance, painting,
so many ways. And it's just a feeling that you attach, like, as an audience member as well. Like, you know, I think some of the most successful work that you see is where the artist and the audience takes like a 50-50% of ownership on it. Like the artist would hint at something, right? The impression would lead the audience to think of it in a certain way. That's where it becomes more interesting, where like you don't give all the information and then the person who's viewing it or listening to it, they have their own interpretation on the right. It becomes so much more interesting because of that. Which brings me to, you know, your work on Loving Vincent, because that's an interesting project, because I think Van Gogh's work has always done that. I think even today people are trying to figure out, you know, like the take he had on the kind of work that he did. Is it how he was visualizing the world, or that was just an artistic choice that he was making, or what's going on? So he's one of those people, and like the film really celebrates his life, like
being independent, being independent,
right. So take me through the whole journey of working on Loving Vincent, when, like, how you started off on that.
It's funny that you mentioned it, because I feel like it's so much distant time already, because it was in 2016. So
right, it's been a while.
I mean, 5, 6 years.
Yeah, it's gonna be 7 years now.
Oh my god. Yeah. So I've already, like, at some point forgotten that you know, I was even working there, especially because it was my first ever like studio work. You know, it was my first job, I would say, not mentioning some freelancing, like small freelance stuff that I've done, you know, on the way. It was first time that I actually got to studio, you know, at the place, and like I was working with other people on the project. So it was first time. And what I want to hear, like, maybe how I got there, for example. I just saw like a ad on Facebook that they're looking for painters, you know, and at that time I took a dean's break at my university because fun fact, I didn't have time to study on the things that I wanted to study at my university, so I took a break to have time to study my own stuff. So that was the time I took the break, you know, and it went to be like a 1 year break from study. When I'm back after 1 year to continue my master's degree, because I did bachelor and then I started master's. But then I was like, no, I need to have time to actually learn because I was already so much sure what I want to do. And there were a lot of subjects at the university that I didn't really, I don't know, I felt like it's taking my time and like attention from my goal. So I took this break, and it was exactly the time that, I don't know, maybe I was 1 month in, you know, after I started, and then I saw this advertisement that they're looking for painters for this movie. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting project. And it's happening in Poland. So I was like, okay, then maybe I can just send my portfolio and like see whatever. Yeah. And I did that. Only thing I done, because everything there is in oil, right? Like you paint with oils. So I just combined my portfolio with some oil paintings that I got, and additionally did some Van Gogh master studies in digital already, but only to show them that I can replicate the style, which I think was, like, for me, it was a quick thing to do, but I think it's very valuable for the person who is hiring you to see that, okay, so this person is like capable of doing this type of style.
At that point, were they also judging, checking how much time you take in terms of completing a painting?
Yeah. So I will get into that because that was like a whole recruitment part.
Right.
So first you are sending your portfolio, and then then replied like, yeah, okay, we liked your portfolio. Please come for like a 3 days of test at the spot already. Okay. So that was in another town, city in Gdańsk, like 5 hours away from my hometown. So I went for this 3 days test, and basically it was funny because there wasn't any type of like interview, nothing that you come and they sit and talk to you, nothing like that. It's like you come and like, okay, here's your working station. This is the program that you're using for painting. Here are oil paints. Sit and paint the sequence of animation. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay, let's get to it. So basically you're like sitting there 3 days and painting maybe like a couple of frames of Armand, the main character in this yellow vest, just talking or like moving slightly, and this is your test. So they see how well you can paint, how fast also was about it, because it was also like how many frames you actually get to do within these 3 days. And the most important thing was actually ability to match the color perfectly, and this was also the biggest challenge of the whole painting part, to match the color exactly how it is. But the challenge was not only about matching, but it was also because the color that you saw on your monitor was entirely different than what you saw on the canvas, and the color on the monitor had to match the previous frame and not what you see on the canvas. So that was the thing. Like you're painting, for example, yellow, you take the photo, and on the monitor it's more like orange, but it has to be yellow on the monitor. So you
so you have to keep that in mind, that you cannot get persuaded by the color that you see on the reference monitor.
You can't. Then you keep like by trial and error, you add more if you want to make something more orange, you will add more red to that, and you have to know that, and then you take photo and then you match the colors on the monitor. So that was more insane. But oh my god, I've learned so much about mixing color by then, like
I can imagine.
to perfection, because it really, like, it's not only that you see the color here, not to actually compare the color, you have to zoom in completely, that you only have like a big like rectangle of plain color and big rectangle of another color, and you cannot see the edge between them, at all. So it has to be this perfect. So yeah, so that was a challenge. And a lot of mixing ability involved.
Also, like I guess because you've had that experience, a lot of the people over there, like artists who were working alongside you, I guess that also creates a community of you guys, just discussing with each other. Like, was it that sort of a work environment where you guys could actually hang out with each other?
Yeah, definitely. It was actually very, I would say, nice atmosphere, because everyone has like their own room, working station, but it was actually like a separated room from cardboard. Like very much makeshift, but basically everyone is sitting in those rooms. But then you can go out and like meet in the kitchen or like visit someone in their station. So yeah, and many people, there were some people from Gdańsk itself, like living there, but many people came from different part, even of the world, because, for example, I met Tiffany or Charlene.
Tiffany Mang,
Yes, like she was also working there, and this is how we met, and like we could hang out, together, go for plein air there. So there were many different, people that came especially for this project. So maybe a similar thing as we are going, we were talking about THU, that people are committed to come. So you're using your time there to spend time with with people and, you know, do stuff together as well. So again, like I still have, you know, those people as friends now. And for example, now when I visited States, I also met with them, you know, to hang out, because you keep the contact, and this is amazing. So yeah, like it was really nice experience, but also tough. Like I remember at the end I was already exhausted so much, because it's really
hard. Like, how long did you work on it?
It was only half a year, so it was not too long. But oh my god, like
but then again, it's also like every single day I'm guessing that you're working on this, and it has a strain on you, because you have to there's a lot of mental, you know, attachment to the whole process. Like you can't really let go of yourself suddenly on certain things. You have to right.
I think the big part is that you also get to do the same thing all over again and then again and again, because if you get the sequence of, like, I don't know, a couple of seconds, and you take 3 months of one scene, then you have to paint like 100 times the same thing, but moved a little bit, you know. It's, you know, like, okay, it might be meditative at some point, and I really enjoyed it, especially in my first weeks, you know, because this was exactly what I wanted to do. This was my first painting job. Like, you know, I got there, I got to paint, I got to earn that I paint. I could turn on the music, and I could, like, I don't know, dance in this, you know, my working station, because no one could see me there, like painting and like having fun, enjoying. But then, you know, after some time, it started to be like, well, I was actually getting burnt out at that point of the task, you know, because also the fact that the more you do, the more you will earn is a factor, because it's not like you have, okay, 8-hour workday and you're gone. Some people did that, but then I was super ambitious one who wanted to get as much stuff done as possible, and I could spend like 12 hours in the studio or even more, which was super unhealthy, because at the same time, you know, there are also fumes of oil painting.
Oh, right. I completely forgot that that's an aspect to this. Yeah.
It was also the summertime, for example, and was like super hot, you know, in there. Like we did have some AC, but it didn't always work, you know. So yeah, it was, yeah, at the end, I was already like so done. Like I was just dreaming about leaving, just because, you know, I was so tired of this work. But in general, as experience, oh my god, like I think it was super valuable to work.
Yeah, I mean, I think it serves as an art education. Like it's, again, college, art school for you, right? Like just spending so many hours a day for almost half a year, and not just with your work, just seeing everyone approach the same thing in a slightly different way, you know, but all of you coming together. So it hits all those art school pointers that you kind of, you know, like the experience that you get out of that.
Exactly. You have
but I can imagine, yeah, the toll it can take. I mean, which is also where I want to kind of discuss the aspect of mental health and art. And the reason why I'm also curious to know your take on this is because like this time when we met, I saw you really putting a lot of emphasis and importance towards therapy in general. And I think we are much better off in terms of any kind of stigma attached to therapy, but I think still most people would avoid it as much as they can. They'll wait till it's gone so bad that now it's a genuine necessity, whereas therapy will always serve as a necessity, even if you're feeling great, right? So how has therapy like helped you? Like at what point did you start going for therapy, and what kind of changes have you seen in yourself from that?
First of all, like exactly what you say. I think this changed so much. Like the topic of therapy changed so much. But I think we're also in a bubble who, you know, who actually start to realize this is actually the thing. But sometimes when I go back to my, like, you know, hometown, and, you know, I think it is still sometimes a topic like, oh my God, so you're crazy because you're going to so while I think it's improving, on this topic to actually start to speak about it, I think we are still not there entirely, that it's actually okay to speak. And yeah, I think it's also super important. So for me, so I'm in the therapy now, have been since July, but this is my second time. My first time was a year ago, I think. And that was the point, a year or two, I think a year. That was the point that it was already so bad for me, my mental health, that it was like the only action I could take, that I could feel that it might something, make things better. So to the point of like this last resort, like, okay, I have to find someone right now because otherwise I will just come actually mad. So at that time, I think it was so much different than what is it now, because I felt I was getting better, but I'm not sure how much it was like a matter of a therapy or my mindset in general, that I'm just trying to do things to change, my thinking. Because at the same time, I was also like reading different self-help books, that I think helped me as well. But I'm not sure if that therapy changed a lot. But I think it's also a matter of connection that to the therapist that you've got. And I didn't feel like I was getting a lot out of my sessions. I always felt like a little bit lost, that we talked through a lot, but I cannot get any kind of results. Like it was hard for me to process anything that I talked about it. So the session would end and I was like,
so there was a sense of this blankness as to like, okay, what now?
And at some point I even felt frustrated that like, okay, so I just spent an hour, but I don't get anything out of it, but I was going for around, I think, 3 months while going. I was also doing online session most of the time because I was in Berlin and I had a therapist in Poland. So I only went for like first 1 or 2 meetings in person, and then mostly online. I'm not sure, maybe that was also a little bit of the factor. But then, at the end of it, I felt already a little bit better, but I think it was also different factors that I started exactly the beginning of the year. So January, the shittest part of the year when it comes to, like winter and like this winter depression in general, maybe connected with New Year. So you want to do something, kind of for New Year. And then spring started, and I was maybe feeling better also because of it, but also the stuff that I've done for myself during this time, trying to process stuff. I even I just painted something and I enjoyed it. So for me, that was a huge achievement as well. So I felt like, okay, I think it's getting better, blah, blah. But it was soon to evaluate that I wasn't entirely getting better. It was just a phase, because there are phases. So maybe there was a little bit a better phase, but I didn't really solve my problems, I didn't dig deep enough to understand many things. So my problem continued. I was still burned out later. And then, so now, not this year, now it's past year, but 2022. In July, I started to go again, because again, many things started to happen and I wasn't feeling great. So I decided, okay, I would try once again. But also this time I went because I moved to Poland, so I also had the opportunity to attend in person, and I went to a therapist that I got recommended by my friend. So it was also a little bit different because the previous one, it was someone like no one I knew, went to that one. So I didn't really have like a first-hand recommendation. And this time, I think it's if there's like any advice, probably if you can get someone recommended, that's really good, because like it doesn't mean it will work for you, because people are different, and probably it's not that if a therapist work for someone, it will work for you as well, but there's a chance, at least maybe a little bit bigger. So I went to this one, and then I started to go in person, and I think the big factor that I was going in person was also the fact that I was getting out of my home, and I created kind of ritual out of this therapy day. So it wasn't only going for therapy. Like I decided that, okay, like this is my day. This is the day for myself. This is my day off. So I start off with a therapy by going to a city center, because I'm a little bit outside of the city center. So it takes me by bike to get like 30 or 40 minutes, to get there. So for me, it was like a trip by bike to the center, but the surroundings I have here are like, the way to the therapy is so nice. Like I only go through the forests and lakes. So this is form of therapy for me already, to get out of home, go through this beautiful view, and I get to see them almost every week, and I like see how they change through different times, like from the summer to autumn, then winter. I saw this forest already in so many different situations of like, being completely green, being completely gold, and red, being snowy, completely white, and it's also super nice. I always get to enjoy this path, to the therapy. And so I started off with therapy, and then after that, I always get to visit some new place that I can sit and write my thoughts, basically. But it also has this element of curiosity to try out new things. So I really like, I look at the map, I seek for the new like coffee place or like a breakfast place that I can just sit and like, be in a completely new environment, and then I get to like focus and write what I processed on my therapy. And then after I'm done with that, I have like a room to do something for myself. And this might be anything I feel at that point. I like, for example, during the summer, I was just exploring different parts of the city by bike, like going to some new park or like botanical gardens. But I don't know, I signed up for a library. So for example, I often go to a library and use this day to hand over new books, for example, or like going to a museum. And luckily the Tuesday is like free museum day. So I can like go to a museum even for free, So it's just a, me day. and I think it was so like nice decision I could take home. And again, I'm so grateful I could do that, because how many people can like like in the middle of the week just spend a day off every week?
Yeah, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to just take, like, even if you can't handle an entire day, just at least, like, if you are like an early morning person, reserve the first few hours of your day for yourself, like without jumping into work or anything. Just go up. I mean, for me, it's like, whatever time that I wake up, the first thing is I would go up to the terrace and just like, get some sunlight in my eyes. And then I go up to the roof and just get some sunlight in my eyes, and just like, just like step away from the world a little bit, or even like
morning routine is another thing. Like a separate.
So do you, I mean, what kind of your early hours of the day routine is like? Do you have a routine of that sort?
So again, like this what we are speaking is the fact that, again, we can do that. I mean, I'm not sure about you, but like I can be pretty much flexible with my working time, which is oh my God, again, I cannot emphasize enough how grateful I am for that. And this is actually what's driving me crazy in the studio. Like if you have like a certain point, like an hour that you need to start working, and it's even like early, then you either need to wake up way earlier to have this time for yourself, or you just skip it and like start working straight away. And because I'm not a morning person, I'm rather evening or a night person. For me, waking up early was almost impossible. So I mean, I tried to at some point. I managed to do that, but it was again so important. Like I noticed how big impact it is if I can actually wake up and not hurry up for stuff, because there was already a time when I only wake up and like start with work straight away, and usually a meeting, because it was a meeting which like actually defines the start of my working time. And you have to be already like aware, you know, talking to people, especially in the manager role. You need to be the one who actually runs the meetings, which is even more stressful.
Yeah, you have to set yourself in that whole work mode immediately.
Yeah. So for me, it was a little bit like not working. So
I feel like
at this time,
I feel like it gives a bit of a shock response to your body, which is not great. Like once in a while it's fine, but if you constantly
like
have
to
do
the cold
that,
water straight away.
Yeah. I mean, that has its benefits, but then again, I think this is more of a stress that you're applying to yourself immediately.
Yes.
Right. So
exactly. And it wasn't good, especially and especially Monday, because it was double.
Oh yeah, of course.
It was not only like you wake up and but usually Monday was also the thing that you need to figure out a lot of stuff that will happen during the week. So oh my God. But at the moment, so because I can really choose what time I work and like how even much I work, it became like a, I don't know, like a same thing. I don't know how to say it, but I have to have my time in the morning. There's like there's cannot be worse thing if there's something happening in the morning and I don't have time for myself, you know, to wake up, to take it slowly. Like I need to go do my breakfast, do my coffee, then sit, you know, with some kind of nice music in the background. Like I can also go out with my dog and like not being in a hurry, like faster, because we need to go back, you know, I have a meeting. No, I can like even go out with my coffee and, you know, like watch Morgan doing his stuff and like, you know, contemplate. And also another part of my morning routine is journaling. It's been really helpful. Oh my God, I cannot emphasize enough how much it changed. And I actually started daily journaling with the start of my therapy. Exactly, you know, exactly the day. So for how many months now? If it was like a July. Oh my God, math. Well, never mind. 5 months, 6. I don't know.
Sure.
Let's say 5. Yeah. So I've been writing daily. Like maybe I skipped like some days, but not too many. But and this is like a morning session to actually write whatever comes to your mind. You know, it can be either describing what happened with you a day before, but also what is awaiting for you this day. What is on your mind really? What are your struggles? Like anything that comes to your mind, and you can actually process it. So it doesn't like, it's not a chaos in your head anymore because you put it in some kind of words on the paper.
I think the most, like, some of the confusion that comes with journaling, the first stage is like, you don't have to worry about having something important to write in your journal. It just could be about, okay, I woke up at this point, I did not feel that great, or I was feeling great. Okay, I have something to do today, you know. just letting your mind out, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And not even worrying about like a proper grammar or, you know, proper words or interpunction. Like,
none of it.
Because you write this stuff as a way that you don't even have to read it, you know. You might. I think it's okay to sometimes, I like to sometimes go back to my notes and like see how did I feel, like what were my struggle at that time, and if something changed, like evaluate. But basically you can write something and just for the sake of, you know, letting things go of your head and not really worried that well, you will read it or anyone else will read it. And I think, I don't know, I still have sometimes this like blockage which I need to get rid of, but I do have like, what if someone actually found, you know, those notes and started to read it and like and I'm like saying it all public, like, hey, here's.
Has that thought ever stopped you from being completely candid in your journals? Like that fear that, okay, if someone finds this, they will find this very personal thing about me.
I'm not sure if it stopped because I sometimes do cut myself that I might not want to write entirely, you know, entirely everything. But I try not to. Like, I try not to think this way and still think like, yeah, okay, like it's probably would be even impossible for someone to read through this if I cannot, you know, like it's too much.
No, I mean, see, I think all of us are we are like, human beings are amazing, but also they're amazing because they're flawed. So I think certain things that we've all probably been part of experiences that we are not entirely proud of, or things that could have gone better but it did not. It's just like, it just adds to the whole experience that we've had, right? So I think, and like journals are the best way to, you know, like kind of explore those aspects as well.
Morgan trying to get attention.
But yeah, I mean, like even I think journaling is something that really changed things for me as well. Like I've also been journaling for almost like a year now. And after a point, I guess like the practice that I started taking in is that as I write, I started trying to find out, you know, how to put my thoughts in full sentences, just so that I understand how clearly a thought can be put. Like, it's like something that I'm struggling with. If I can put in a simple, clear way, at least gives me a level of clarity as to how to think about it now. Now that I know, okay, this is like something that I'm thinking about. Maybe it's related to my family or my partner, and I'm not going to communicate to them. At least that first round of communication happens with yourself. You know, you clarify it for yourself, and then the next step is, you know, how do you communicate with the people involved?
Same. I'm also having so much difficulties to express exactly what I think, and it for sure does help when I started to write stuff down, even to talk about something exactly as you say to other people. I mean, it's not that it solved the issue, because I still don't think, even while writing, like it's often even hard to express.
I don't think it's about the solution, but it's also about the awareness of the situation more than resolving, because certain things, like, you might know that it's not in your control, so it's not on you to resolve it. You just have to wait it out and see whether time resolves it or the people involved resolve it with you. But I think just knowing where you are with a certain issue, certain crisis, that helps you a lot more into thinking, okay, what will your next steps be at the end of the day? Right. So, and the problem is that
trying to think about it, at least, because
exactly
you also don't have to, you know.
And our impulses and like our emotions are like, it's so complicated, right? Because you will think it's like you feeling agitated because of this one simple thing. It might not be. It might be multiple things which kind of got pent up in your system for a while, and then just now you're just in this trapped mode where you don't know what to do with it. So just breaking it down, you know, slowly to see where it's stemming from, what other external, internal factors which had an impact. I realize how much food has an impact on your mood. Right? If you don't eat the right things at the right time, if you eat something that's not great for you,
exercises,
oh
my
everything.
God, this also helped me so much with feeling better.
So I think
such a simple stuff.
And it is like, that's the thing, like the moment with exercise, right? Like once you get it, like it's one of those things that, like, one of the difficult things that you can do during the day. And once you have that out of the way, you can actually focus on things a little better. You have the energy to deal with certain things. You feel lighter in your head. So like that's again a therapy on its own, you know.
Yeah, it's a self-therapy in this type.
Because I think it's not about just being happy, but finding this central balance, like journaling, exercise, food, meditation. It always tries to bring you back.
Being happy, you know, if that everything aligns, then you probably will feel happy, or at least you will go through, you know, things that are happening with more clear mindset, or you can, like, you know, accept this type of stuff that is happening. Not getting into emotion, like too much negative emotion, you know, about things.
I think the sense of contentment that you get from bringing yourself back to that central part, and I think I agree with you with the fact that yes, you feel happier, because I genuinely feel like feeling happy and feeling love is our default state, and everything else is just a stressor on top of it. So even if you're feeling agitated, the best thing that you can do at the point is just taking a deep breath, you know. It's basically relaxing your body enough, you know, and then you come back to that central space.
But there's also completely physical aspect to this, you know, like why exercise and why good food is actually making you more happy, not only you know, in your mind, but physical aspect. Like I heard that 20 from my psychologist, like 20 minutes of the exercise gives you as much serotonin as antidepressants, you know. So it's actually physics, you know, chemistry, you know, in your body that gives you that already. So
and 20 minutes is nothing. That's
well, it depends for who, right? Like for me, 20 at the time, 20 minutes of exercise, if I haven't done anything at all, you know, that was already a huge thing. But yeah, you know, like in general, in your whole time, you know, in a week that you can spend, if you can spend 20 minutes, you know, and it will affect so much already your mood. Well, why not do that? I mean, why not? You should, like, you should. You could, and it could be good for you. Yeah. So
I think that's where the problem comes, right? Because a lot of people, I think a lot of us take some time till we realize certain things we can do which are good for us, but we live in this denial stage that we are in that place where nothing that we can do can actually fix this thing for the better. So we convince ourselves against the fact that we can be happy in certain situations.
It's actually it's more like a cycle, I'd say. Like if you're feeling already so bad, but you don't have will to do anything at all, then you also don't have this motivation to, you know, to
falls into vicious cycle.
Eat good. You just fall into that trap. But it's a paradox, because if you actually start doing that, you will get better in a way, and if you get better, you will have more motivation to more stuff. And it will also make you feel better because you start doing things. And you may either go like cycle like down, or you can go like cycle up. And I mean, it's so easy to say.
And of course,
but it's really important thing. And I think the first thing you can actually do, the easiest thing, and I also heard that in this Netflix movie Stutz, which I recommend watching. I don't know if you saw this one.
Oh no, I haven't heard it.
It's a really good movie about also like a therapy, also self-therapy that you can, like, steps that you can take. And there was like this part that the physical part of your you know, body is actually the first step that you can take to start feeling better, and the easiest, you know, in a way, because if you don't get this part, it will be hard to move on to your more needs, like, you know, like feeling like it also comes to this triangle of your basic needs, you know. So the physical is like the first fundamental one, like nutrition and exercises, like feeling good in your body. And then it comes down to all the other, like a social aspects, like feeling of accomplishments of some tasks, like all the other ones that are going. So yeah, important stuff.
No, I mean, I think I wanted to know about this as well, like because you love traveling and you love indigenous cultures and all. Is it a factor of the simplicity with that certain cultures live their lives with that actually attracts you? I'm just trying to think about it in a certain way where, like, if you're indulging yourself in different cultures, and it's simpler cultures where they don't have like a societal pressure or like external like multiple stimuluses which can cause anxiety for you, but the simplicity aspect of it probably helps you a little. I'm just like freeballing right now. I'm just speculating on that.
I can say that I've only started to notice that way later, and started to appreciate this factor. Also, just the connection to nature. They have like this balance to live, on Earth, without using all of those technologies, because you use the resources that you usually have, at your place. This was more that actually was very interesting for me, like how you can take what Earth gives you, and like be in balance. But I cannot say like the simplicity, because at that time when I started to get interesting, I was all in for not having a simple, so because I was exactly like all over the place, like just doing pressuring, like doing as much as I can to like see more, do more, like. So at that time it wasn't a thing. So it was also hard for me to notice this simplicity that they have in their life. But as I progress with also my thinking, this is the thing I also start to notice, and it's like slow life thing. So yeah, I think it happened only after time. And I have to say, like, and I'm not gonna lie, like the first thing that I started to get interested was visual, because I'm a visual artist, and for me the first thing, as much simple as it can sound, was like how people will look. But then again, like when I started to dig more and research more, about this is when I started to get more interested, like how, like why even they look like they, because they use like this type of resources, because it's connected to some kind of, I don't know, status, or I don't know, some rituals, like, then you start to actually dig more, and it becomes more and more interesting, so this is again, like you're falling deep, into that, and the more you go into certain topic, the more you realize like you don't know anything at all, and there's so much, to discover. And for me, like, exactly the cultures topic, oh my god, like I feel like I've only scratched the surface, like this, even though, like, I know I heard from some people, oh my god, you're such a master in like knowing African cultures. I'm not. I'm completely not. Like I only know some stuff because I spent some time researching and being interested in that. But oh my god, there's so much stuff I don't know. And I would never say, I'm a master at it at all, because that would actually, I don't know, even take away from people who actually do know a lot of, stuff about them. So I don't know. I've only have this feeling that I just wanna know more, and I want to continue, doing more research and like getting to know about, cultures, people, and maybe visiting them at some point. But that's gonna be a lifetime project. This is something like will never end, because it's just too much, too much stuff to know
right.
about. But this is also interesting. Like I could even compare it to like video game. I was having this talk recently with someone, like what's the difference between playing MMORPG than playing like a linear game, for example, RPG, when you have like certain tasks to do and you can end the game. So for me, MMORPG is something like you can enjoy the whole process and there's no end, there's no final goal. You can just
always keep
do
on
whatever.
Right.
Yes, you can log in and with this like RPG, when you have the main quest and you can finish, it's like first you treat it as a task to do, so like until you accomplish that, until the end, you are somewhere here and you have to spend all of this time, and it's becoming also a task to finish it, even though you enjoy the process. But exactly with this like culture project, for me, it's like MMORPG that I can like, it's like a never-ending thing. You can, and art the same actually. Like so you can always explore more, and it's about the process that you just take your time, and doesn't matter how much is spent in the game or with this field, as long as you like log in for 15 minutes and you can like walk around a little bit and enjoy it and log off, fine. But you can also log in for like, I don't know, a whole day, I think, and still enjoy the process, and there's no end. There's no end in that. So I treat it comparison to games, but basically I do treat it this way, that there's no end task, that you can, there's no goal to achieve in a way. It's just a process.
That's very interesting.
I enjoy the process.
Right. I mean, I think as more time passes, I think a lot of us at this point have started realizing that how much like having clear goals help, but also like it only is enjoyable once you actually fall in love with the steps that you take, like rather than just focus. It's
a trap as well, and I've also experienced that actually, like having the goal. I mean, okay, yeah, as you say, it's super important to have goals, but not to be oriented, only for goals, because I think I've already felt this way. It was with Magic the Gathering, which was my goal. It was also always, I want to work from Magic the Gathering. It's like this. And then it eventually happened, I did my first cards illustration, and then it's like, so now what?
Right.
It was like, so okay, so that's it. It's like in this movie Soul. I'm not sure if you saw this one.
Yeah, of course.
So exactly the time like the main character played with the band, which was for him like this.
Right. His everything, like that was his life goal, right?
Everything you strive for. They played, and then it's like everyone, okay, let's go home, whatever. Like, and he was like,
right.
So I did have a little bit, like this. So I painted. There was more stuff on the way, but never mind right now. But yeah, it was like, okay, so I achieved that, and there's no, like, currently, for example, I don't have like a studio or project, like something that I have to work for, like I strive for, that this is the thing, like I don't. And then I think I also lost this type of like, okay, then like why am I even doing art if it was only for that? No, of course not. But then you start to really think like, yeah, what's next? And this is exactly what I want to explore during this break, to actually enjoy this process and not having a main quest that I fulfill and the side quest on the way. No, I want this to be an MMORPG game. MMO because with people, okay. Yeah, but like that this is the process, and this is the path, and it doesn't need to end with some certain.
Right. I think because, I mean, as you said, like you wanted to work for Magic, okay, and then you got it, right? Again,
completed
like,
quest. Okay.
Right, but it also comes back to the whole time aspect of because I know that probably someone wants to work on a project, like there's some dream game that they want to work for, a studio they want to work for, right? And you build it in your head that okay, you get that project or you get that chance to work with the studio once you become this kind of an artist, right? So you're putting a lot of that thought into you being your best version.
This is always the thing. Like, I want to be a successful artist. Whatever does that mean?
Exactly. But also it's interesting because there are other factors in play which could actually lead you to get that opportunity much earlier, right? So if like, okay, probably it was your 10-year plan to work for this studio, but then you get it after like 2 years or something. And then immediately there's a disconnect, right? So like, okay, what to do now? And I think again that's what says how much we kind of play around with the whole concept of time when it comes to goals and everything. I think which is also the reason why a lot of like New Year resolutions don't really work out. They fail quite a bit is because it's like that specific a goal. I mean, if you build around systems, like around certain principles that you want to lead the next year, I think that works a lot better. As you decided like, okay, I want to step away from all work and I want to just explore, go out and travel. Okay, that still gives you so much more of that empty space to just soak in new things, right? Like you don't have to hit
it doesn't
beats,
become a task
essentially.
again,
exactly
something that is there to complete. No, it's again more after an idea to follow, not something to tick off.
Speak to me about the whole Masai Mara experience, because the photographs are amazing, but I wanted to know about how like it was communicating with them. What were the things that you learned, like in terms of what, like even like they also have a very specific kind of a life that must be a lot of struggles involved. So what was that whole experience for you? Yeah.
Okay. So because people also think like I've spent like so much time with them, it's not really the thing. Like I only spent a week. I mean, it's still more than usually people would do, but I also wanted to avoid this type of experience of like, and I saw so many different like trip organization that you go on a safari and then you jump into the Maasai village, they dance for you, and then you just buy something and get out. I wanted to avoid that so much because it's so like fake. So so I found, I don't know, I started to Google and like dig some kind of like authentical, Maasai, I don't know, meeting, village experience, whatever. Then I found this camp that is actually organized by Maasai themselves, next to the villages that they host you, and then you can spend you can stay there however long you are, and you have different types of activities to spend with them. So this is exactly what I was searching for, to be next to them and spend time. And for example, I ended up like just hanging out with them in the village, like herding cows. For example, I had like a whole day of just herding cows,
Wow.
and it was amazing. And like or like, I don't know, going to the bush, like just a walk, like to some kind of hill, but on the way, like the Maasai guide is showing you like all different plants, that they use for a specific reason, so I was interested in this part a lot. Like for example, you grab this leaf and you like rub it, and then you get the orange dye, for example, because of what's inside. Like there's this type of type of tree. Like when you get the branch and you like bite the end, it makes you a toothbrush because of the substance that it has inside the stem. It works good for your teeth, and you know, because the ending, like you do it so it's like more like a brush, and you basically just, you know, brush your teeth.
Right. That's actually quite common in India as well. In a lot of the villages in India, you will find people having these twigs where they bite off, chew off one of the ends, and that acts as the brush.
As a toothbrush. Yeah. So I didn't know about that before, for example, when I came. So when I saw it, I was like, whoa, that's amazing. And it's funny because I even know a couple. She's Samburu, and he's from Sweden. And now they moved to Sweden, and they even get those kind of brushes, little toothbrushes, with them, you know, to Sweden because they like it so much, and they prefer to use this over like a plastic toothbrush, you know. So that's a funny thing. But yeah. Also, there were many different, you know, types of things that you just the type of knowledge that you get on the way, but also just, you know, just the fact that you walk and you talk, you know, and you know, some of them speak English, so so yeah, that's
I wanted to know about like the communication, because I'm guessing a lot of them are used to seeing tourists, like they have a lot of the people from the tribe, they are used to seeing tourists coming over there, you know. So I mean, did you feel like they had to put up a certain front for you, or they were able to be more authentic?
I think you can really see that, like there's no way they can completely treat you as one of them immediately, at least you know, especially if you can come and go. No, this is like a job to do, like they have to like dance for you. But it was actually funny because I was already at this other side, that we're like sitting there, you know, together, and I saw like the bus came, you know, with people, and I was already like at this other side, like, oh, they came, you know? And then, okay, you guys do your job, and then you come back. Like, it was funny. Like, and again, like I didn't even spend that much time, but I think it was already and also they told us that it's not typical for people to come even for, you know, for more than a day, or because usually they use this, you know, camp as a stay to get to Masai Mara National Park for a safari. But very rarely people actually decide to stay just to spend time with them. So that it was.
So the main attraction is mostly for the animals rather than the tribe. Right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, them too, but again, like just to see, just for a while, you know, like all these other people, but not really diving, you know, into it. So I think, again, even though it was not a lot of time, because a week is really not much, and
it's not that much.
Actually, I do plan to. Like, at that time, for me, I felt it was like way longer than a week, because it was like such a different, you know, type of time spent. And I do have in plans to come back there for longer, you know, because I'm still in contact with some of them, like especially one, and they're like inviting me, like, come for, like, when are you coming to Kenya, and, you know. So I do plan to maybe go for maybe, I don't know, a month. That would be nice to really like.
That would be very cool, yeah.
Spend time. But again, coming back. So yeah, even though the week it was not that much, it was already different experience, you know, both for us but for them as well. To, you know, to get to know someone a little bit longer, and now especially if I keep the contact and we are exchanging, you know, simple WhatsApp, you know, what's happening. So I get the updates, like the if there were rains, for example, or that there's a drought, or like there were migrations of animals happening, you know, the simple updates of what's actually happening in the village, which is super cool. But there was one thing at the end which was super special. The last day when we stayed, we had this like day without any other like activities planned. So yeah, we didn't go to safari. Like there was no walk, any special type of stuff, and we took this day for me to sketch and paint them. You know,
right?
And my partner was taking photographs, and there. It was exactly that I was telling you, when we were sitting all together, and then some trips were coming on the way, but in general I was sitting with them and like drawing, and then they brought the elder of the village, like, okay, because there's this girl who's painting, you know, people, so here is elder, he will pose for you, you paint him, you know, because it's like and so he was sitting for me like maybe, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes, because of course it cannot be too long. So I was like just, you know, rushing with my painting so much to get it as best as I could, of course, because I left all the drawings in there for them, you know, so I wanted to hand over something, and then, you know, he saw it and like wow, I'm not sure if any of them had ever experienced someone painting in front of them. I think they said like they've never saw someone drawing or painting, you know, at all.
So was the reaction like a thankful reaction or just a sense of confusion? Like how do they receive these kind of, you know, someone giving a painting to them?
First like just being curious of like, oh my god, like something appears on the paper and this is the person they see. You know, like I even have this type of photo, like when I'm drawing, and there's like whole crowd, you know, of Maasais, you know, just looking at what I'm doing, because it's so much different than they saw when tourists are coming. You know, they only like take some pictures and are gone, but they never experience someone doing this type of stuff. You know, so so the elder saw this drawing, and then he couldn't speak English, so the guys had to translate, and I hear from the guy translating that, so the elder wanna say thank you for that, and give you a Maasai name. And,
oh wow!
And I was like, what? And it followed with like a small ritual, you know, of chant, like all the warriors chanting.
So you have a Maasai name now?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's very cool. Wow.
Yeah. I got the Maasai name aside through like a small ceremony. Like it was really small, but you know, like they gathered and they were chanting. I cannot recall the words because it was Maasai. But I had to also repeat something three times. You know, like so it was like a small ritual. And then I got my Maasai name, which is Nashipai, and it means happiness.
Oh, so, that's lovely.
Yes. So I was such a surprise, you know, like this is something I would never expect to happen.
Also such a high honor. I mean, like
it is.
It's almost like adopting you as one of their own. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And I even heard that many times from Kelly, the one that I'm in contact with, like, you are part of the family, come, and I go, wow. Like I mean, I don't even feel entitled, you know, to be called like this, because again, I only spent a couple of days, and yeah, like I don't know, maybe it happens with everyone. Like, maybe it's nothing super special, like if someone maybe stay a little bit longer, because I also like already saw some different stories that people got their Maasai names, but maybe it's still not as typical, because again, like not too many people actually decide to stay for a while longer, and it only happened the last day. So after, after a couple of days. So if we only spend like 2 or 3 days, there wouldn't be enough time for it to happen, really, right? So that was a hell of experience for me. Wow. Very much, yeah.
So, for them, for the Masais, like what is considered to be like a happy moment? I mean, like what are the
you will have to ask them.
Yeah, because I'm interested more like what are the choices, like how do they celebrate something, like because I'm just curious as to how different cultures think of simple emotions, and even like coming down to their language, right? Like a lot of these native languages, they sound like they're basically sounds. Essentially, it feels like, a language has been constructed out of sounds from the forest, like trickle, water, or leaves rushing through the wind. So it's like those bits make it so much more interesting to know about another culture. So I'm just curious as to if you had an experience where you saw them reacting to a certain thing that you or the place where you come from would responded in a very different way. Like it would be such a new experience to see them responded to a certain way.
Well, I wouldn't say it's such different experience, but if you ask like about like being happy, I think the biggest importance, and again, like I cannot speak from my side, but only what I saw and what I heard is that the biggest ever thing is, well, family, and the cattle as well. So if you take care of, like, the family is the most important thing. But as again, like as we speak, all the, like, you're happy where all the conditions make you feel like, but not feel, but be healthy, and that your cattle is thriving. That's why, like, it's such a huge thing when the drought comes, because cattle is dying, and then if cattle is dying, then people also, they don't have food to live. So there's like a chain, basically. So that is like the main value thing, and it's actually not so much different from what we have, right? Like like our value is also like family, and that we can stay healthy, and that is the biggest happiness factor in a way. So it again comes down like how many similarities actually are there between, if you go somewhere, the values might still be exactly the same. It's just like different factors that make it happen. Yeah,
makes it more curious.
I'm not sure if I answer your question.
No, I think you definitely did, but it also makes me think about, then, like, if we see a divide or separation, why is that separation even happening? Like if at the core we want the same things, we want to be loved, we want to have a family, we want to have like certain requirements of whether it be food, water. So then is the separation happening once you have a lot of that, where that thing loses its value, or like it's someone else?
Maybe you strive for new different things because your family is healthy, so like this is you, but you have a family, they are healthy, and then you can strive for the other stuff. But maybe when your main struggle is actually to keep the family healthy, alive, then this is like your whole world. But another thing is like exactly this herding cattle experience, and how much peace you find in this activity, which in our hectic world is that, like, how can you just spend full day of just,
it's almost
like,
unimaginable,
walking
right?
around?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like to just stop and enjoy it, that you are just there and like looking looking after cattle and just having your like munching your toothbrush, and that's your whole day, and you enjoy that and enjoy this piece of of the moment, of the landscape. Like for me at that time, that was also like very, very different, because I wasn't used to that yet at that time. And exactly, we say like now I do. Now I started to enjoy more like doing nothing thing. But for me at that moment, it was exactly like so much different experience. That how can you enjoy like just not doing anything at this, like I mean doing anything, like you herd cattle, but it's basically just walking. Then you sit and you like just sit and watch, and then that's your whole activity. At that moment it was very different, and they find happiness in that too.
Right. I mean, this time, like when I went for THU, and for me, the like traveling around Lisbon took like it was so much more important to me than the event itself. Again, like not the event's fault, it's just me, because I realized I mean,
yeah, I remember you saying that. Like even before the trip, right?
Right, because I think what really fascinated me about that place was how people were utilizing their weekends to just be amongst each other, just enjoy the time sitting at a park under a tree, just sitting with their dog.
Okay, go to the beach,
right,
as we did.
Yeah, it was just beautiful. That stayed with me so much more. I don't remember much of the event.
Yes.
But I remember the entirety of us hanging out at the beach, and then we just like shivering like
so
crazy in the cold water. Like that stayed so much more, because I think it plays to something very fundamental to us at our core. That like the event or the industry, those aspects just completely like faded away. Suddenly we wanted something more from that experience.
I even felt like I sometimes need to escape from the event, because it's so overwhelming with all the people.
It's a lot, for sure.
Yeah, that this moments of like actually gathering in a smaller groups, or like even going alone, it felt like also like really good experience. Just sitting at the beach and like soaking the sun.
Oh, it was great. And I mean, just like being around like all of you, it was such a peaceful, and I think also it came at a point where I also needed a break. I mean, by that point, me and even Karthik as well, both of us, we've been working on the same project for almost 2 years. Somewhere around that. So again, as you say, escape. It acted as that whole thing where once we came back from the event, we decided let's not do anything for the next 2 months. Let's just find out and enjoy ourselves. Like even if you're at home, just get things in order so that you're internally you are much more content.
Again, if you can do that, right?
It's
everyone can do that.
Yeah, it's not easy. Of course, it's not easy. Like, but that's the thing.
I mean, not easy. Like, it's in terms of like even financial reasons, right?
Oh,
like,
definitely.
So many people just cannot afford spending 2 months not working.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it's very true. But yeah, I mean, I guess like that's where like prioritizing certain things and seeing how you can bring yourself to that really helps you eventually. I think I have a very different idea of the industry, of what it takes to be a professional artist than even like few months back, like right before THU as well. I just learned so much from just hanging out, with people, and just like knowing about how they are, and those things stick with you for like ever. You can't let go of those things, right?
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, so like coming to an aspect that you share with me, like certain difficult things that happened in your life recently, which is the reason why I got more curious about your journey with therapy. How like imagine a time where a situation that I'm not going into any detail or anything, but if you feel like talking about it, that's okay. But like at a time where you did not have therapy as a tool that you could use, like how do you see a difference in yourself as to, you know, overcoming difficult moments or overcoming adversities? Like the person you are today, how does that person deal with these things compared to Iga like a year or two back? You know, like how, what has been your approach at this point towards difficult moments?
Yeah, so mentioned journaling is for sure one thing of dealing, because you ask how am I dealing with the struggles and problems at the moment. Yes. Yeah, so exactly, like taking
not even just system, but your perception of what constitutes a crisis period in your life.
Okay, so also a big thing, just dealing that stuff is happening and it will be happening, and it's pretty much only in your head how you perceive that. You know, it's everything is in your head. It's like how you react on stuff, like what is your emotional response. And you know, something bad can happen and you can it can completely wreck your life, and you will be like switch off for so much time. And something exactly the same thing can happen for another person who already got more peaceful, clear of mind. Yeah. But and then you will take exactly the same situation and like be able to process it, like, okay, it happened, but what is actually maybe a good thing I can take out of this, because it's already happened. You cannot change it, right? Whatever it is, like, and it won't make your life better if you worry constantly about what happened in this past and how it can affect. No, like, you can at least try to like acknowledge that, okay, this is maybe your new reality at the moment, and what is actually best out of this thing that can happen, and how can it influence your like for the time, like what's gonna happen. So pretty much focusing on the positive side of things. I know it's not always easy, you know,
I think focusing on a positive when you're in a crisis situation, it's like a positive does not even come to you as a first thought. I think thinking positively about something comes after you find a sense of, you know, groundedness with the situation.
But I think this ability comes exactly with this type of balance. Like if you take time for yourself, you know, to journal, to exercise, to meditate, like this will happen, I think, more automatically, that you are able to process the bad stuff that is happening as well, and think like I really see the difference, you know, in perceiving things right at this moment, and how I perceive things a year ago or 2 years ago, when, you know, any trigger, any small trigger, you know, will cause you like in the feeling such a bad mood. You know, it can be something. I mean, you see how people are frustrated on the streets, you know, like it's so clearly visible. If someone is in this state, that doesn't matter small things that happen, they will like bounce, you know, back to you and like start to shut you, or even like at the streets, you know, like I don't know, you start a little bit later, there's a green light and you haven't, you know, started yet, or I don't know, like you started but your car, you know, switched off for a moment, and then the guy behind you.
Oh, that's an epidemic in India. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. But and it's like, what's the point, you know? And you see like this guy like, oh my god, why we're not moving, blah blah. And another person who maybe is already like a little bit more stable emotionally, or does have this balance, you know, they would be like, yeah, okay, I mean, like it happens to me as well. Like, why would I even get mad that someone like blocked road for 2 seconds more? You know, like what it will even change if you beep now? Like you okay, sometimes you like you beep just to inform the person, like, okay, maybe it's time to move because it's green light. It's completely different than like, move, you know. It's like, so much different. So I see this change for sure, you know, and me to not really get mad about some stuff first that I cannot control. This is, I think, the most important thing. Like if I cannot control something, I don't want to worry about it. If I can control something, then what is that I can do to actually change it? You know, this type of clear, like this type of thinking. I think it was really, really, really helpful for me. Yeah, I lost the topic.
No, but I think in fact, like not having or like giving up control on something gives you a lot more control on a situation, because now you're not really sitting and overthinking the minutiae of details as to what you have to do in order to fix something. You actually trust the process, you know, like, okay, if you're going through a difficult moment, sit with that emotional struggle. Let your body at least accept the fact. Don't fight it too much, right? You know, like don't use other factors to kind of, you know, distract you from that pain. Because it's like if you have a cut on your hand, right? Like if you keep on scratching at it, and like it's going to leave scabs, right? But if you let it heal on its own, it'll take its time, it'll hurt, but it heals. Like I think emotionally scarring or difficult moments have the same kind of an impact. You just trust the fact that, okay, this sucks, you know, like right now things are bad. Let's just sit and feel that. At least it gives you a lot of this sense of sitting and understanding, just observing yourself being in that pain. And that allows you to understand it at a much higher level, where now you like it acts as a school for you. Like you have lessons that you've taken from this rather than just a difficult moment, and that will now allow you to make better decisions in the future, whether it be something of similar magnitude or just other things in life in general, perhaps giving advice to someone else who's probably going through another difficult moment, right?
But I think it also comes down to this point that I also mentioned before, that I again do believe that things are happening for a reason. I know some people cannot handle this, you know, like that's bullshit. Like you can actually, you know,
that's things. Because again, right, because they want to have a very strong sense of control on that thing. They cannot give in to the idea that certain things are not just for you to do. Just wait and watch what's happening.
And I also like do think like, okay, there's a lot you can do, but I still think it's still like some kind of part of what's meant to be. So just by this thinking, I think it's so much easier to accept so many different things that are happening, and just move on, you know, and like accept and move on. Happens. What's best you can take out of it, take it, and you know, just move on. So yeah, it's I think the life is better when you think this way, you know, just in a more positive aspect, you know, not only seeing the negative things. Because like life is too short. Why should we worry, like spending worrying, you know, about things?
Right. Absolutely. I
mean,
like
TED Talk.
No, I mean, I think that's great, because I think what you're talking about really serves a different part for everyone, because otherwise, like, this is exactly what why I wanted to have someone like you who's actually gone through different stages of this whole process, where you had this whole time where you really focus on being the best possible artist that you could be, like, you know, honing the skills to be. But I think now with the understanding of life, it makes you even better an artist, because now you've seen multiple facets.
We shall see that, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not even about like a painting that you make, it's just the life that you're living right now, right? Like it's that itself serves itself as, you know, like a work of art. You know, you find very interesting things just from living the small bits in your day, even like spending the time with your dog, and like just seeing him live his life in his own way, it gives you a sense of understanding of like what not worrying about certain things feel like, right?
Yes.
And I think that's one of the beautiful things that we get to learn from animals as well, just to like the ability to not overthink.
Exactly. Yeah.
Small
You
things.
just have a simple, basically simple needs that you need to fulfill, and then you enjoy. Like, for example, having a hand you can lick on.
Right.
It's already like
Exactly.
the perfect process, God.
All right. So I'm so happy that we had this conversation, because I really did, because with you, I mean, I cannot have just an art conversation with you. I think
I'm so glad. I mean, Iga 2 years back would be so surprised. Like, I would never think about that we can have a conversation about something that is not art. Like, what's the point? What's the point? Like, let's talk about art. Like, yeah, it's such a change. It's such a change. And I'm so happy to actually to come to this point. And this is, for me, I feel that this is only a beginning now. Like, it's really like a completely new chapter, like with this type of mindset, I'm only starting, now to live completely different life. I don't know, we'll see, but yeah, it's exciting.
Right. The last bit of it, I just like, it's not even a question, but like 2 years from now, okay, which
2
is
years
like,
from now,
yeah, it's 2023, 2025. What are the kind of things that you see the 2025 version of Iga would embody? Like certain personalities, like I'm not talking about expectations, I'm just talking about like I think even like after discussing about, okay, let's just go with the process, don't have to worry about goals and all, but like that we like seeing ourselves being a certain version of ourselves at a certain point in time. So how do you see yourself 2 years down the line?
So it's exactly what I already did as a exercise. Like, when I thought like ideal version of myself, how do I see myself, and it doesn't matter if it's like in a year or 2 or 5, whatever. It's like to be free, independent, and like just enjoying what's happening in life, and that's it. It's like just 3 simple things, and then whatever happens wherever I am in the world, because it might be anywhere, I don't know, that's the thing. Like, I don't want to make any plans, I don't want to make any expectations of me being in a certain place, because then I know I gotta fulfill kind of this task, right? So I don't want to plan anything that, okay, I want to work in the studio, or I want to paint this stuff, or because I do have many different concepts, or like things that I see, possible paths that I can follow, but I don't want to settle on anything specific, actually. So just if I feel fulfilled by what I'm doing, and I can make a living out of it, because it's also like an important thing for me to feel not settled, but independent and free, which is also a financial thing, right? Then I'm happy, with whatever I'm gonna do. It doesn't matter what, like, as long as it fulfills me in a way. Might be probably in a creative way, because I cannot imagine myself not doing anything creative. But again, it doesn't even need to be painting. Like, this is exactly what I also figured very recently, that I get to enjoy different form of art expression, and I have like probably I will still, and I will keep painting, I think, like, because it's such a huge part of me. And even if for some time it wasn't the fact that brings me joy, I do think it's still such an important part of me that I will continue painting. But I also want to, express myself in different forms. And I've already started, to try different forms of art expression, which is including music, dancing, even, like sculpting. Yeah, it's like photography and modeling is another thing I've only started to do, and I don't know, maybe I can combine, you know, these things. You know, this is actually such a great point to have this conversation, because I just cannot wait to go back to this, you know, conversation in some time, because it's such a important turning point in my life that, again, I have no idea what's gonna happen. And yeah, coming back to this, you know, maybe when I already know what, like, future Iga.
I think these questions also serve as like a time capsule question. Yes. Where you, like, this is a thought that you kind of, you know, now you've journaled it in, and now you come back and you reflect back upon this moment after 2 years to see, like, not to even think of it like, even if you don't hit those expectations, it's not like it's a bad thing, but at least you know that that's something that drives you, right? So at least I am excited to see how that turns out for you. Firstly, like, this was so much fun. I've missed hanging out with you ever since we left Portugal. It was so much fun. I hope to see you again this year at some point. I don't know how we'll see if that's
at some
possible.
Point, for sure. I want to visit India. Oh, yeah, I don't know if this year.
Yeah, if you're feeling this free with your traveling plans, make a trip down to India. I'll be more than happy.
You know,
I'll be more than happy to join you.
Yeah, I'm so open to, I don't know, visiting different places. It's a lot of logistic, you know, involved, but again, like, I want to make this, like, tough open to actually be spontaneous also about things. I think spontaneity. What's the noun? Spontaneity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's such an important, you know, role that plays in my life, like to be able to be spontaneous, you know, so exactly, not to have everything planned, but make a room for yourself to, you know, get curious and do spontaneous stuff that you feel like doing at the very moment.
So spontaneity, is that a part of your personality itself, or because I remember when I was seeing you at the Airbnb, like, you were still scheduling yourself, okay, like, if we are planning to go here, then let's stick to this plan. So I thought maybe you're someone who likes to have an order to your day, but then again, spontaneity goes the other direction. So I'm curious as to how that is for you.
No. So for me, it might be like some pointers, you know, that I can do this and it, just to have a general idea.
Right.
Exactly, again, as with future plans, but to still leave this room for stuff that's spontaneous. So if you don't feel like it in the end, you can.
I think you're keeping an order enough so that you can still feel free. Like, those are just like guidelines.
Not to be lost as well, right? Because sometimes if you have too much freedom of doing stuff, then you might get lost, and in the end, feel like so overwhelmed by the amount of possibilities that you can do, that it's good to at least name down a rough, not a schedule, but at least, I don't know, ideas of what can possibly happen, what you can do, like what is that you can do, and then, for example, at the moment, like, even choose from it, or like be flexible with, you know, with the order of doing stuff. But yeah, like, I love doing spontaneous stuff, and there is a lot of even big decisions involved with spontaneously, like moving countries. Like, because, like, I moved from Berlin to Poland, and it was such a spontaneous decision, and like from the idea of moving, you know, like, hey, maybe we can actually move out from Berlin, to actual move with 1 month.
Oh wow, okay.
And sometimes, of course, it has its costs, you know, of such. It also spontaneous travel plans, you know, if you book stuff last minute, it's always, like, not always, but often you have to pay more for something, or like, even with the move, we gotta pay for an apartment in Berlin because, like, you need to pay 3 months, you know, like, you need to cancel your agreement 3 months in advance, but you feel already so eager to move because you already got this idea and you want to do it immediately, that you actually move.
But 3 months later, you don't feel the same drive as you do feel it right now.
Yeah, it might be, but yeah, like, okay, instant gratification, good and bad, you know, but sometimes for me it's actually good. Like if I feel like this at the moment, I want to do it straight away. That's why, yeah, I'm often deciding on like going somewhere, you know, very spontaneously, and like no one expected me, for example, to join like some event, and I appeared because why not, you know, like, and okay, you might need to pay more for something, you know, or like save this time which normally you maybe could spend more productive, but I stopped thinking this way. But just as a sake of, you know, enjoying this very moment, and that this is what I want to do, you know, it has to come with compromises, of course. You cannot only do stuff that you know want to do at this very moment, because that would lead to not always good things. So of course you gotta compromise and think like, okay, so you might not be doing something that you really want to do at the moment for the sake of a bigger goal. That's normal. But again, to balance it out, and if you really feel like doing something at this very moment, just go and do it, because you will enjoy it way more now, and you might not enjoy it, you know, another day at all, you know. And I don't know, even playing games as a kid, for me, you know, at that moment was so much more, but I couldn't because I had to, you know, study and something. But now, for example, I might not be enjoying, you know, these activities the same way anymore, you know, like, I don't know, going to metal festivals, like I used to love them so much. And, you know, well, I think what I'm trying to say is like, if you really want something, don't leave it as a, you know, as a very distant thing, because it might not be the thing you're gonna, you know, enjoy later at some point.
I think I'll just add one last point to what you said, but I think as we were discussing how everything happens for a reason, I think if you really want something to happen, things align for you. So if it doesn't align, so I think it's a chance for you to kind of go back and think, how much do you actually want it to begin with? And,
because maybe it's just like a concept that you think you wanted, but if you are not taking actually any action to do something, and exactly things don't align in that, maybe it actually wasn't meant to be.
Right. Awesome. Wow, this was fun. Again, as I said, I hope to meet you again soon.
Same.
All the best for your travels. I think you're gonna have some like amazing months coming up. I'm just waiting to see all of it.
Without too many expectations again, but
no expectations. Like every positive negative experience is a new experience. So I guess.
With this mindset, yes.
Something to have gratitude towards and something to learn from, I guess. So
Ian, thank you so much for inviting me and for this talk. Like,
you're always welcome to come back. We'll do a round 2 of this next year, and we're like, okay, how was last year for you? And then it'll be really fun.
Yeah, that would be nice to catch up again if I'm alive.
I don't
know. I started to think like, what if I don't come back from this trip? I don't want to think this way, but I do take it as a possibility, you know, that I don't know what if something happens, but at least if something happens, I don't know, I know that in this state of mind that I am now, it's gonna be, you know, I'm fulfilled.
Well, obviously it's a difficult thing to even comment on, but like I'm actually like, next time if and when we do this, I would like to discuss this concept as well, about death and, you know, how we think about it, and it'll be a very fascinating conversation, I feel, as well.
Could be.
So could be. Looking forward to having that.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, take care.